How's it, guys? Aldaine, or known as Knight Rider, Batman, Kamikaze, the list goes on and on and on. I'm here today to talk about fishing at Eastmore. Basically, your prep work, where to get bait, launching, beaching, safety, how to go about fishing the area. I'm just going to break it all down into a quick nutshell so that the video is not too long. Okay, we'll start off with prep work. Your prep work is just as important as your fishing trip. You can't just get out there and then realize that you forgot a knife at home, you don't have the scissors, you don't have the pliers, you don't have this, that and the other, you don't have traces with you don't have hooks, you don't have a popper, and the dolphins are coming through and you need a popper and you realize you don't have one. Prep work is very important. Change your leaders at home, put on a new zabiki, pack your boxes, make new traces, pack your sinkers, pack your circles, and so forth. Get yourself prepped up before you actually go fishing. Okay, for me, what I take when I go fishing, first of all, ski, rods, paddle, life jacket, gaff. That's one combo. That's besides my extras that I carry with me. So the extras will be obviously tuna traces, always. Circle looks, 6/0 circle looks is what I personally fish with. 6/0 circles, a few packs of zabikis, because the shad tends to demolish them, so it's always good to have extra. A couple of sinkers, some elastic bands, a knife, scissors, pliers, your basic safety, water, a flare or two if you do have, which you actually should have in your ski, a couple of spoons, a couple of lures, some Alco lures, some Strike Pro lures. The spoons I go with this with the CID Sprat spoon, the Halco Twisty, just basically snook spoons and stuff that I can catch bonnies with as well if I actually need to. I'll also always carry wire with me. You never know when you're going to need a wire trace. It's either just a little single treble with a piece of wire and a little swivel on it, or it's just a full-on kuteri with like a little 1/0 lead hook, piece of wire, treble in the end, 30-40 centimeters of wire up front. You never know when you're going to need it. Yeah, and then like whatever other tackle you want to pack, if you want to pack an extra 5 lures, never a bad thing. It's always good to have extras. The saying that I go with is always good to have it. It's good to have it and not need it, than need it and not have it. So make sure you pack a little bit extra with you. It'll come in handy one day. Okay, then basically when you get down there, first thing you're going to see is the big blue ocean. Get you all excited to go fishing. I'd recommend taking about 10 to 15 minutes of your time, just jumping out your vehicle, locking it, going down towards the beach, and just sitting there for about 10-15 minutes just to see what the ocean is doing, where about the banks are, where about the backlines cranking the worst, what the shore break's doing, just that sort of stuff, just to make your launch so much more easier, instead of sitting on a bank and punching foamies for about 15 minutes, whereby somebody launches 10-15 meters down next to you and gets out bone dry. Yeah, try find a gap, try find a nice area where you can get out nice and dry, which will make your launch a lot easier. Also, I split my launch into 2 parts. So basically, I got the shore break and then I got the backline to deal with. So what I'll do is I'll launch, I'll find the gap in the shore break first. I'll clear the shore break and then I'll sit in the mid break and I'll wait for the gap there to obviously clear the backline. I've seen it happen a lot of times where O's get annihilated big time, where they sit on the beach and wait for the gap on the backline, jump on the ski and try rush all the way out there and get smoked on the backline. Where to get baits at Eastmore? That's a question I get asked a lot. Where about did you get baits? Where did you get baits? There is a wreck there. The wreck is called a barge, or also known as the Fonteo. It's about between 1.2 to 1.4 kilometers offshore. Sits in about 24-25 meters of water. That is the bait spot. But with that said, you don't need to paddle 1.5 k's, how many ever k's it is, to get there and get bait there. And then you get there and then the bait is scarce. Now you're stuck. What I personally do is, when I get to backline, the first rod I take out is my bait stick. Take that out, drop it down, and then I start unpacking. And most of the time, literally as it hits the ground, as I start unpacking, I got baits on there. Take the baits off, put in my live baits well. Once I'm done unpacking, immediately I'll pin the bait on, let it out, and then just carry on looking for more bait and making my way out. If you don't get baits on the backline, that 15 meter mark also tends to hold bait quite often. If it's pretty quiet there, you're more than bound to get bait in that 18-meter mark, and then obviously the barge, and then a little bit deeper off the mark as well if bait is scarce. Basically, you can get bait at Eastmore anywhere. I will be sharing the marks for that 18-meter mark, the barge, and the mark that's slightly deeper out that I found baits on a lot of the time. Okay, so what's the target at Eastmore? Eastmore is a very well-known tuna spot. So, like, the guys will get the odd wahoo, the odd bullfish, GT, queenie, snook, garrick. You can get basically every single game fish in the ocean at Eastmore if you want to. But when we go out there, we generally go for tuna. Tuna's on our mind, that's what we go for. You can also target snook there. It's not the best snook spot, but snook do come through there. But if fishing at Umhlanga, your main species is obviously tuna. And then also the reason why I always say pack steel wire with you in your ski when going is if you get bitten off and those cooties do come through, at least you have wire you can put on and then get yourself a coot instead of a tuna. And then how to go about fishing Eastmore. This is a topic that can be spoken about for hours on end. I'll try break it up nice and small. From the back line, I pin my bait on. I'm going to take a slow paddle all the way out until the markers where I'll get a little bit more bait. And then obviously depending if the mark is crowded, I won't hang around the mark. I do normally fish shallow a lot. I'll generally fish like that between 20 to 23 meter mark. I'll fish around there. Well, it's basically called fishing the inside of the barge. I'll fish the inside. If there's nothing happening there, I will work on the front tail. If there's nothing happening there, I'll go deeper. So I'll work different depths until I find sort of where the fish are holding. When fishing the barge itself, the barge is basically a bait mark. So what happens is obviously there's bait there, there's fish there. So the fish do come through there. Problem is there's a ton of sharks. So if you do ever hook up while fishing on the barge, let that fish run as far as it can off that mark before you tighten up and fight it, because you're bound to get taxed around that area. So let that fish run off 300-400 meters out, tighten up, and you'll pull yourself to the fish and you'll end up landing at 400-500 meters off the mark, which is exactly what you want and a less chance of getting taxed. Also at fishing the barge itself, if you're fishing on the wreck and the current's coming this way, I'd recommend fishing up currents. Always fish up currents. Well, I've just had more luck fishing up currents. I've noticed some guys do fish down currents of it. If the current's coming, the current's going from north to south, I'll fish the north side of the mark. The current's going south to north, I'll fish the south side of the mark. It's just the way that I fish it. There's plenty of ways of fishing that area. Everybody does it differently, but as I said, this is just the way that I go about fishing on Umhlanga. Also, don't hang on the barge. It's pointless sitting dead on center of it. Go 300-400 meters up away from the barge, come down with a drift, or take a slow paddle down and then go over it, and then go 300-400 meters on the other side of it, and then come around, go shallow, and then come out like that, go over it, go deeper. Basically just work the area. Don't sit in one spot and hope that all the fish are just going to come there to you. It doesn't normally work like that. You got to go try find the fish and get that pull. Also, don't be scared to go deep off the barge. Like that 30, 33, 35 meter area, literally straight out of the frontier of the barge, works pretty well. I've got some good fish there. So don't be scared to go deeper. Don't be scared to go shallow. You don't need to fish on a wreck. Tuna and all our game species are not like reef fish. They don't sit in one spot. They move around. So you can get a tuna off the back line in 16-15 meters of water. You can get a tuna 5 k's away from any reef structure. So you don't need to sit on top of the reef and fish in the barge. Just fish the whole area. Basically, how I look at it is I got Lighthouse and then I got Eastmore parking lot. I'll work that area, go round and round and round and work the area. Obviously also following baits. If you see baits up on the surface, stick with them. There's normally game fish with them. Beaching. Obviously beaching is just like launching. Split your beaching into 2 parts. Get onto backline, pack up everything away, sit there for about 5-10 minutes, just having a look at what the waves are doing on the back, looking left to right, seeing where's a better option to actually beach, and yeah, sit on the back line, time the sets. When you see your gap, take it, paddle hard, do not stop. When you commit, you committed. You paddle as hard as you can. So and then you get past the back line, past the crunch zone. You sit just behind the shore break, and you wait there, and you wait and wait until you get a gap there. You get onto the beach nice and safe. Also, guys, always carry a life jacket. Always fish while launch and beach with your life jacket on. It's very important. Make sure you have a pair of pliers with you in case you get a hook in you or something, and then a little first aid kit in there. You'll probably have a little bit of bandage, a little bit of like a anti-sand or whatever, something to just clean a rusty hook that went into your hand or into your knee. And also, Allergex is very important on the ski. Make sure it's the non-drowsy Allergex. If you get stung by a blue bottle, something bad happens out there, at least you can pop one and it won't make you drowsy and sort of take the pain away. Also, carry water and carry fuel. Your body needs fuel to work. So if you're fishing a nice long 6-7 hour session with nothing to eat or drink while out at sea, you're gonna be very lump and very lethargic. So make sure you have fuel for your body: a fruit, apple, nachi. No bananas, please. No bananas on a vessel. Jot that down somewhere. Never carry a banana on a vessel, please. And if you do, fish very far away from me. Yeah, so make sure you have all your safety equipment with you. First aid kit, life jacket, water, juice, sweets, something to fuel your body. Yeah, hopefully this helps, and it'll help you get a fish or two soon. Cheers, guys.